Good morning, guys. Welcome to Life on Turkey Lane. Today I have a quick tip and a quick project for you, so I hope you'll stay tuned. See you in a minute. Okay, so I might do two projects today, and I might not, just depends. But anyway, we need to preserve some of our eggs. We're getting a lot of eggs, and we are giving away a lot of eggs, but we still have a lot of eggs, and we don't want them to go to waste. Now, they will last for several months, about 3 months in the refrigerator once they're washed and stuff. But we don't have enough room in the refrigerator for everything. So I've got these silicone baking cups here. Now, they were a little pricey to buy. I spent like $8 for 12 little cups. And sorry you're seeing my horrible, ugly muffin tin here. I don't really use it for baking anymore, but it's good for this. So anyway, I'm just going to put these baking cups in there. Now, you may not need to preserve eggs, but like, you know, when eggs were down to like 48 cents a dozen at the store, even if you don't raise chickens, you could buy a whole bunch of those up and you could do this with them, and it'd be great. Anyway, let me get a bowl of these eggs here, and I'll get a little... Now I'm going to put 1 egg per muffin cup when I do this, but I'm going to scramble it first. And here we go. We're going to be saving eggshells. Let me get my little bucket here. And we're saving eggshells for the other little tip I'm going to share with you today. So anyway, we're going to be freezing these eggs to preserve them. And I will only put 1 egg per muffin cup. And they need to be scrambled first. They won't freeze well if you leave the yolk whole. So anyway, this is just a small amount of prep time. You can see that 1 fairly decent sized egg just about fills the muffin tin. And of course, ours are all different sizes. We just like all chickens lay different size eggs. We have some small, some large, some medium. But this is a good way to preserve your eggs. If you want to cook with them afterwards, you would take however many you need out of the freezer and use them like in your baking. You can cook them scrambled. You can, make scrambled eggs out of them. Use them in your baking. You could use them in the just crack an egg things that I showed you to make the other day. And they're just perfect for that. Of course, now if you want to eat like sunny side up eggs, these are not the kind of eggs that you would use for that. And I know eggs are relatively inexpensive, but if you need to preserve them for some reason, this is a great way to do that. You don't salt and pepper them or anything like that. You just put the egg in just whole, just like that. I'm trying to pick out some of my larger eggs. And you can see some of these are cracking relatively easy, and some of them are a little harder. And you kind of want your eggshells to be on the more firm side. For one, they preserve better, they save better, they last longer, and of course you don't have a lot of broken eggs. So you want your eggshells to be relatively firm, like that one is. This one's pretty stiff, and that's how you like your eggs to be. And I'm going to show you a tip or a trick on using your eggshells that you already have to produce a supplement for your chickens to eat that will help their eggs to have a firmer, harder shell. Now hopefully I can find plenty of room on my in my deep freeze, so these can set up nice and straight when I freeze them. We do have a space issue sometimes. We're working on getting an upright freezer, but they are very expensive, and we're wanting to buy a used one. Well, see, now that was a very soft eggshell, but I'm going to show you a remedy for that. Part of that egg went on the counter because it was so soft that it just broke everywhere. That probably is one of our older hens. But anyway, I'm going to show you a remedy for that. Look for another big egg there. And make sure that you don't get any of your eggshell in the eggs. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to be back in just a few minutes. Okay, guys, so the eggs, I put them in the freezer to freeze, and they are now frozen solid. And so in order to store them, I'm going to just put them in a Ziploc bag, a big Ziploc freezer bag. And they should come out of the silicone things relatively easy. They just pop out just like that. And you just put them in there. And that makes life easy. So anyway, like I said, if eggs ever go on sale again where they're 48 cents a dozen, you know, say you don't have any chickens that you're raising or anything like that, and but you would like to have more eggs on hand or buy them cheap like that, this is what you can do with them to save some of them and preserve them. So you just, I did one egg at a time, and I scrambled I mixed up the egg, scrambled it kind of, beat it, and poured it in the muffin cup. And then we put all of these muffin cups in the freezer to freeze them, and now we're storing them in a Ziploc bag. And that's all there really is to preserving some eggs. And now, of course, like I said, these will be good for baking, or you can thaw them out and make scrambled eggs out of them, of course. Use them in some of your recipes. Now, of course, if you're looking for a fried egg, or you know, a sunny side up egg, you're not going to get that out of these. But you can save the eggs that you don't preserve for making those. And anyway, so that's all there is to, and these two I'm having trouble getting out of the pan, probably because they kind of dripped. Some of the egg mixture might have dripped under there, and they're stuck inside my pan here, but we'll get it out. There we go. Last one. Okay, so we got a bag of, that's 1 dozen eggs in this bag here, and I'm just going to squeeze all the air out of it. And zip it closed. And now we have some preserved eggs that we can use at a later date when the chickens aren't producing as many eggs, or later this winter. Chickens don't really produce eggs as much in the winter time, so later this year when it comes baking time or whatever, I'll have these to use for baking eggs, and we'll have then any fresh eggs we do get, we can use them as fresh eggs. But that's how you preserve eggs. So stay tuned for my tip of what you can do to use your entire egg, including the shell. So I'll be right back. Okay, everybody, well, I've got my oven preheating to 300 degrees, and I've got my baking sheets lined with parchment paper and have spread eggshells all over them. And you may be wondering, well, why in the world would you be baking eggshells? Well, the reason is if you raise chickens, they need calcium in their diet in order to produce eggs that don't break real easy. The shells need calcium. And so if you're feeding calcium supplements to your chickens, then the eggshells will be stiffer. Anyway, now you can buy calcified oyster shells at the animal feed store, but it can be rather expensive, and you don't really need to do that because you're already getting eggs from your chickens, and the shells are calcium. So when you bake these shells, you have to heat them for them to be good for your chickens. But when you bake the shells, you can bake them at 300 degrees for anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes. And then you crush them up in your food processor, and that is the calcium supplement that your chickens need. So it's absolutely free to do this, and it's a real easy project. So there's your little tip of the day. If you're raising chickens, go ahead and save your eggshells, and you can do this too. Okay, so my eggshells have been baked, and they're now cool, and I am going to use my, first I'm going to put them all on one little tray so I have more room here to work. I'll just go ahead and get that out of the way. And get that out of the way too. Okay, so I'm going to move my little tray closer, but I've got my little mini food processor here, or chopper. I've showed you it before. It is the most used item in our kitchen. But anyway, I'm just going to start putting a few of the eggshells in there. I'm going to kind of crush them just a little bit so they'll fit in. And like I said, these are good calcium supplements for your chickens to keep them, when they do produce eggs, that the eggshells of the eggs that they lay are nice and firm, and they don't break real super easy, because when your eggs break real super easy, well, of course, you lose a lot of eggs, and they also don't store as well. So I'm just going to fill my food processor up. Now this is noisy, and I apologize for that, but this is just how it works. So I'm going to go ahead and fill it up some more. But anyway, this is going to save you money because you already have the shells around. If your chickens have laid eggs, you already have shells from the eggs that you've cooked. And so it's a free project, and it's a supplement they need in their diet. If you don't give them this, then you would need to give them like the oyster shells that you buy at the store. And why would you need to pay money for something if you already got it for free here? Okay, now that little batch, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to store them in a Ziploc bag here. And I'm going to keep doing that until all the shells are ground up. And then they'll be ready to feed to our chickens. Along with their, you know, our chickens are not always free-ranged, and they're not always cage-free. But they are fed well, and they do get lots of natural food and organic food. So they're good to go. They're good layers for us. Now, you don't want to do this without heating them first, because heating them kind of sterilizes them some, where there's not a lot of bacteria. But also, it will give the chickens a taste kind of for their own eggs, if there's like the membrane left in there is raw. And then they might start eating their own eggs after they lay them. And you certainly don't want them to do that, because then you don't get the eggs from them. We had an egg eater one time. We bought some eggs, or some chickens, from a guy who was selling pretty much his whole flock of hens for relatively cheap. And he said they were good chickens and that they were fairly young. And come to find out, after we bought them and got them here, they were kind of old and they were egg eaters. And he didn't feed his chickens the supplements. He didn't feed the chickens the supplements they needed, and a lot of their eggs that they had, that they did lay, were very, very soft. They would break almost immediately, and it's like, you know, even if they just clanged against each other for a second, they would bust. And so we didn't keep those chickens around very long. Most of them became stewing hens, sad to say, because you just can't have chickens around that aren't healthy and that eat their own eggs. So this will help prevent that. Got one in there that's a little big. I know you probably don't want to sit around and watch me finish this, but I've just got a little bit more to do. And my husband is outside today. It turned out to be a really nice day. It's a little chilly yet, but he is outside working on cleaning our gutters out. And we haven't been able to do that since we moved here. And they've really needed it. They don't actually, the gutters don't work when they're full of stuff, and they are definitely full of stuff. So he's out there doing that today. So he is out there doing that, and he's also started on getting our deck prepared for barbecue season. We love barbecue season. I love grilling, and one of my favorite parts of life there. And so we're getting all that fixed up and ready, so we can enjoy the late spring and early summer out there on the deck. So there you have it, calcium supplement for your chickens out of their own eggshells that have been heat treated. And so that's kind of your tip, a quick tip for you, just to save your eggshells and use them for your benefit, for your chickens' benefit, because otherwise you're just going to throw them in the trash or even the compost heap. Which if you throw them in the compost heap, they're still benefiting you. But these will benefit your livestock, your chickens, and you'll have better eggs for it. So there you go. Well, everybody, I am so glad that you joined me here today. I hope that you enjoyed this video and these little projects on preserving your eggs and a supplement for your chickens if you raise chickens. Thank you for coming to Life on Turkey Lane. And if you did like this video, or if you'd like to see more videos, please consider subscribing to my channel. Give this video a thumbs up, share it with all of your friends, and I'll see you next time. Bye.